Right, notice is hereby given of a meeting, workshop of the Board of Directors of the District to be held at 105 Port Road, Port Isabel, Texas, on the 24th day of February 2016 at the hour of 5 p.m. for the consideration of the business of the agenda below. This notice is posted at the office of the District, February 19, 2016 at 1:30 p.m. in accordance with the Texas Opens Meeting Act, and a copy has been furnished to the County Clerk in Cameron County, Texas. Item 1, this meeting is called to order. There's a quorum, minus one board member, Whitey Thomas. Oh, William. He is here. I'm sorry, never mind. Everyone is here. And at this notice, the meeting has been duly posted as required by law. Would everybody rise for the invocation and pledge, please?
Lord, please guide our hearts as we make our decisions tonight. We seek you first in all we do together. Give you our business, our customers, and our workforce. May we always be mindful of their service. Our trust is in you completely. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, very good. Item number 3. Discuss prioritizing district capital improvement projects and funding options. Gentlemen, in your packets, we got a bunch of information.
Yeah. Well, it's an update to our 5-year capital improvement plan that
Correct.
was presented at a prior workshop, probably in August was the last time we had it for discussion. And so really, it's just kind of, I don't know if there's also this one sheet at the end of it. I don't know if you want to start with your sheet, Carlos, and then
I added one more towards the end of the same item number 3. That this one's mostly for budgeting or addendum to the budget. And Ms. San Juan is not here to speak. She should be coming any time, but there's a need in some of the pickups that about 3 departments that need a pickup. They've been utilizing the existing unit, and we've been sending it to get repaired and corroded and underneath, and brakes are failing. So we've got kind of decided that if it's possible, let's consider purchasing at least 1, 2, 3 of those department pickups. Just to keep it in mind when we come to that part.
How many we got now?
What's that?
How many we got now?
How many? Bart, how many? 30, 32? 30? 30?
39 vehicles.
That's including all the big trucks.
That's all the vehicles we got in our district.
Right. How many pickups?
Pickups, 32, almost 35.
Oh, 35. Okay. And these are certain departments within, like the metering department, meter readers. They're in and out, like back and forth.
How many trucks do they have, meter readers?
Meters, probably just 2.
Now, how many miles on those trucks?
About 187,000 miles.
187 already.
Yeah, just breaking in.
And you got some for the water plants, laboratory, all the ones that need to be replaced?
All the departments have about 4 or 3 trucks.
And the ones that need to be replaced all got about 187 or in that range? In that range?
Let them use the Dodge Hemi. It just sits out here out front all day anyway.
Oh, I know. I've seen some rough-looking vehicles too. You know, if we're going to be buying equipment, buying vehicles, what I don't like seeing is I don't like seeing these things sitting outside at night. I really don't. That just you know, you get our mist and our fog at night. It's all salty. It's coming from the Gulf of Mexico. We've got to have some type of protection for our assets, these assets, to make them last longer. They shouldn't be rusting out. I've got a car that's got 197,000 miles on it. It's got no rust on it. Okay, keep it inside. I got another vehicle, 101,000. I got no rust on it. I got none of my vehicles all over 100,000 miles, and they have no rust on it. Whitey's got an old truck. You got any rust on that thing?
It's got a couple of little spots. It's a 2001, and it sat outside right alongside the channel for Well, since 2000, it's a 2002, but I bought it in 2001.
Mhm.
15 years old.
So, you know, there's gotta be a way we.
Do they wash them?
Do they, you know, that's a question too.
They don't
I
know,
mean,
they do wash them, 1991, 92 trucks,
Every,
What year are they?
6 months, whether they need it or not.
2000 truck.
Wash them every 6 months?
Whether they needed them or not.
How about once a week, man? Once every 2 weeks? I don't know, but those are old trucks, 91?
They do put some trucks inside the barn, but not all of them fit, so
Mhm.
maybe the new ones should be inside.
I know, we did get a proposal to do.
Is it in the budget for new vehicles?
Yeah, I was wondering,
Concrete slab, is that?
I was wondering about this.
Yeah, how much was it?
About, 187,000.
Money, is that in the budget?
Not right now, but the thing is that, that's one of the things that we really need to make, the effort that, to wash those trucks in a weekly basis, because so far right now, they're not doing it.
Even the new ones we got,
Yeah,
especially the new ones we got.
right, yeah, so basically, you know, that's one of the things, you know, that, I was asking, for example, the meter readers, you know, you need to make the time, you know, to do the cleaning of those vehicles, and sometimes, you know, they respond something like, when we have the time, we'll do it, like, no, you have to make the time to do it.
And Carlos just mentioned, and with Victor, I guess, about doing something next door on this lot here, maybe having a building or what?
Yeah, it'd be a.
For vehicles?
It'd be an 8 garage door, it'd be 8 to 5, about 187,000.
An 8 bay, we can only get 8 vehicles in there, or are we gonna double it up?
Double up, so it'd be
You
16.
could maybe get 16 in there, instead of just leaving them out all night. I mean, that's something we probably need to put on the list too for, you know, priorities is.
How many bids do we go off for that?
No, we just got a quote just to see what it
One
was.
quote, no more?
Yeah, we just got a quote, we haven't gone out for bids or anything, we just.
There's no money in the budget for that.
Yeah, well, that sounds pretty, we just wanted to see what the rough estimate would be.
We, met a contractor up in Lagoon Heights, so they're building one, by, Jefferson Street up there.
Yeah.
It was Jefferson or.
It's,
We asked him if he could come over and see our slab already that was existing, and to give us a quote on it, so that's how much he gave us.
That's built, way wider though.
Some built up for 50 grand.
John built that for 50?
That's what I'm saying, I mean,
That's not wrong.
Yeah, that.
Will they let us put a metal building out here, or is it gotta be masonry? No, we put metal. They have a.
John
built that building for 50 grand. Wind
I was
rated
down in
metal
Middle.
building.
The A1 guy, the AC guy?
Yeah.
That's the one you're talking about?
I had it listed, he
When
pulled
they
it
built that
off
one,
the market and
I
built
think
that building.
the guy that built it is a local from, Typhoon Services, I think it's called. He's from Laguna Vista or something. He came out, we just asked him just for a quote to see what it came out with that.
Was that a metal building, Victor, or a masonry building?
Metal.
That's how high a metal building is.
That's what they have in Lagoon Heights, like about 6 or 7 of them, metal buildings that are high,
Yeah.
just like our existing warehouse on one side, one of the storages. So they're metal.
Yeah, we might wanna get some quotes from some metal building people, cause I know we can build them cheaper than that.
Charles, you know, are we still on Charles's, are we still on Carlos's, or are we on Charles? I got some.
It's all in the same item, I mean, whichever
Anyway,
one you wanna
get
talk
back
about.
to our workshop.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it's,
Yeah, we'll go with Charles, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess if we,
These are the same items that you have on the other one.
yeah, well, I'm not interested in vehicles, I suppose that would be maybe an equipment item or something. I mean, basically, this is, you know, I kind of, basically have the water projects and the wastewater projects, and then what I did was try to put a priority number on them based on their needs. And I prioritized water as standalone and prioritized sewer as standalone, because trying to mix the two up just got too confusing to try to figure out, you know, a sewer plant versus a water plant or something. So basically, I mean, just starting off with the water projects, I mean, it kind of carries over it's the first 2 pages of these, of the capital improvement plan.
okay, and so your like, where it says number 1, that would be the first priority, correct?
Right. And really that housing is, because you know how those transfer pumps that feed the microfiltration have an enclosure that's not meant to be outdoors. We should be building a building to protect those motors so they don't be failing so fast. So that's really the main reason why I have that one as priority 1. And then also just the chlorine dioxide that just got installed. It's about $2,000 to bring the SCADA alarms into our control room. So I mean that's just a quick item that we can I mean, I have about $22,000 estimated. That's top priority. Get that building to protect those pumps, and then bring the chlorine dioxide into the SCADA for controls. And so that's kind of what I see as, you know, our first item. And then the
Okay.
second one is just some chlorine regulators for 1-ton cylinders at the plant. We need to replace them. It's only like $4,000. I mean, the first big item is going to be priority number 3, which is going to replace the sludge lagoon at water plant 2. And so, you know, that sludge lagoon was built in '85. It's basically at full capacity. And so this is also that study that we had asked Ambiotech to take care of here in the past month. And so I got their completed report and their estimate to build the sludge drying basins, which is the same setup we have at water plant 1. And we're looking at $1.18 million to get that built at water plant 2. And so that's a new project. This is the first time it's been placed on the 5-year CIP. So I mean, I think that's a pretty important one, where we have concrete structures that we can be cleaning every 6 months, and it'll be in use, you know, for perpetuity once we have it in place, versus a lagoon that'll fill up at some point that you got to figure out what to do with.
And that's an unfunded, we don't have any
Correct.
funding for that at all right now at this
Right,
point.
right. That would be future debt, or however we need to figure it out.
Yeah. Now, Charles, I wanted to ask you something. You know, we just did a rate increase, right? And then we're designating that funding for capital improvements also. But at the same time, you've already put out an application for the plant, right?
Correct.
Through
Well,
the state.
We're still
revolving
preparing.
fund.
Yeah, we're preparing a financial application. I mean, we have a resolution up
Right.
for consideration tonight, and then the sooner we can get all the parts of the application put together, the better, so we can submit it.
Now, if that goes through, some of that money that we've designated for capital improvements to raise the rates, right? By raising the rates, that's got to go to pay. If we do get some money out of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Texas
they'll-
Water
they'll
Development
be-
Board, right?
Right. So I think the debt service on that would be about $250,000. That would go to debt service for that clean water loan.
Because this all ties together, Whitey.
realize
That's
it's
why
all tied together.
that's why I'm bringing it up now. I'm just trying to see where we might have money available to do some of these projects. But we've also got to consider that if we do get that loan, or that low interest loan from the state, that some of the money that we've designated with this rate increase has got to be used to pay that loan off.
Correct.
Correct.
Well, the loan from the state will have to float a bond for it, right? Or is this something?
The loan from the state is going to be a pledge of system revenues to repay that loan over 20 years.
Okay.
And
Okay, what if we don't get the loan? Non-bond.
if we don't get the loan, we don't get a sewer plant. Or, you know, we don't have the funds to get our sewer plant done.
Okay, so all this we've been talking about is contingent on getting that loan.
Well, for the sewer plant, yes.
Yeah.
A non-bonded loan.
We stand a high chance of getting the loan, I mean, that,
Well,
I mean, we've not
It
approved.
shouldn't be a
but
problem getting the loan.
Shouldn't be
I
a
would
problem.
Right, right, we've already
We're a
received
good candidate.
Yes, we received the invitation to apply November 20th, and even just a couple of weeks ago, for the potential grant component for green infrastructure, one of their projects, it turns out that the applicant didn't qualify, so there's a window that we could be getting some green, grant portion of it, like maybe $175,000 of grant money that might have opened up, so, but it's first come, first served, so the sooner we get that application in, we'll be next in line for that opportunity.
We got any numbers on the interest on the loan?
So, interest was at 1.87%. I
What?
think, the quote that Adrian had made, when we discussed it at that time, was about 1.87%.
1.87, it's real cheap.
Yeah. And so basically, the CIP has already been redistributed to account for that SRF loan, to fund that, you know, the full invitation amount of $5.8 million. And so that's how we've opened up the ability to fund our waterline projects, like the cast iron line in Port Isabel, the Gulf Boulevard, and then the structural repairs to our 24-inch line that crosses the bridges at Long Island Village.
So you're telling me we do not have bond money for the improvements and the stuff we need to do out at the sewer treatment plant here in PI?
Well, we don't have enough. Like, if you go to the third page, where we start to get into wastewater projects, and we look, we jump down to the Port Isabel wastewater treatment plant in bold. That's basically our full project that we're talking about. We're including, basically for the 2012 bond, we reserved $2.5 million for the, it's covered the engineering up to this point, plus that portion of construction. Our 2016 bond, which we're looking at closing March 2nd, is going to bring us an additional 2.58. And then that CWSRF is our loan from Water Development
A
Board.
whole lot faster than, where's that loan?
The CWSRF, the $5,815,000.
There's our loan.
Because it's only like a $6 million project.
No, now it's up
No,
to, it's up to a $10 million.
When you include the engineering fees and sludge holding tanks that we've added, we're up to 10.9 million for the wastewater treatment plant.
Now,
It's not 6 million, it's 10.8 million.
Yes.
It was 6 million at the time.
10.874863.
Correct.
That- That includes installing and
Don't
construction.
forget the 4 cents.
Roughly in the beginning.
Right.
And we've added the sludge tanks.
We've added sludge tanks, what else have we
It's
added?
the sludge holding tanks and all of the aeration and all the improvements to get to our advanced treatment in a future phase. And then the pipeline, of course. The pipeline's $1 million to get off the Garcia track.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Talking about the pipeline from Leaside, wherever it goes from.
Mhm.
Why is that our problem?
The pipeline is our problem because the state has put very stringent limits on our copper and zinc and our whole effluent toxicity, which is our problem.
You're talking about the water line on the island?
No,
Talking about the island.
Oh, no, Island, Gulf Boulevard?
Well, he's
Yes.
switching.
Oh, okay.
He switched on.
Gulf Boulevard, the only reason why we're running ahead is because they're gonna do a major paving project, and we have a 6-inch line that's shallow, it's in conflict with their subgrades
Excuse me.
on the road.
Listen up, guys, listen up.
If that line was put in by specification and was signed off by the engineers, and because they want to do something, why is it our responsibility to move our line? Because if we set a precedent like that, and they decide to go down the alleys, and they determine that every one of those lines in the alleys is too shallow for what they want, or might be where a palm tree's gonna be planted, are we gonna have to relocate every, at our expense? I'm of a sinking feeling about this, guys. To me, it's a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
If they want that 6-inch water line removed or lowered or whatever, yes, we'll do it, no problem.
Because that line is serving the area right now, as it is, it's already signed off.
And has been for a
and it
long
has been
time.
for- So it's them, they're wanting to improve that area, that road, so why is that our problem?
Well, I mean, who does the right of way belong to? 'Cause
Well,
whoever
I
holds-
agree, because that's what I had said in the.
Well, we own a portion of the right-of-way.
Why
We
did
have
we
a
vote
portion
for
of the
it last
right-of-way.
week?
No, I got a word.
Because now we're
It's in the paper right here. When I-
because now we're thinking about it a little bit more.
Well, go tell them we'll just
I
put
know,
it up
I've
on
been-
both
well,
ends
you
and
got me
cap it
thinking
off.
about it. Well,
They can do
I
anything
don't
they
know.
want.
I mean, what we're doing is
They went and got a bond to do that, and they're lowering the road so they can put those fancy curves in and those parking spaces, and they've gotta go lower, that's the deal. And now that makes our line too high for their project.
Well, our line only
But
has,
it's their project.
the line only has 18 inches of cover at some point. So, I mean,
So that's what I'm saying, and they're going down about that much deeper, and that's what the deal is.
I mean, a water line should have 3 foot of cover, but ours doesn't. And then plus, it's asbestos cement pipe, or asbestos concrete pipe that we're gonna be, removing, and we're gonna be replacing it with PVC. And we're going from 6-inch to 8-inch. So it's a good upgrade on our side. And there's a lot of 2-inch crossings from Castaway to Las Arenas
They
that are
don't
gonna
wanna
get
put any
removed.
skin in the game. I'd leave it.
Do we
Do
wanna
what you
rescind the
wanna do,
award?
when you break it with your equipment, we'll go fix it, and we'll send you a bill.
I was upgrade personally.
It's an upgrade to the line.
It's an upgrade to mine.
And what's this steel line you were
That's
talking
why
about?
I don't have a problem.
And it's
Oh,
gonna help with the.
steel line for the 24 inch?
Losing too much
Because they're
paint.
gonna loop it.
Well,
And they're gonna have their road in. and
Is
then
that the
we'd have to
Garcia
go-
Street?
Yeah.
We'd have to go.
well, the cast iron, the imported steel.
Something we
is
gotta do
50.
eventually.
Yes.
Okay. Dave, you flipped on me there. I
Yeah.
thought we were talking about the island water line, and now we're talking about Garcia Street, and that's correct.
Well, those are all.
The line running to the channel from the plant, aren't we?
Well, I don't know, we're kind of flipping from sewer to water. Maybe I should have kept my ID
Yeah.
numbers, because I took ID numbers and put funny priority numbers. I could have been referring to an ID number
If you
instead.
go back to the top part of the island, Golf Boulevard, what I understand, they had sent me, an email that we needed to relocate the lines because, there was an issue with, the lines were too high.
Yeah, they're in conflict
They
with,
weren't deep enough. So they're gonna run into them and break them when they did the construction, so.
Good, they can pay
Charles
for it.
looked into that, I disagreed with him that we had to relocate them, but Charles looked into that and looked at the model that they did. And he kinda mentioned that, looping it and changing to a bigger line would help out, so well, if that's what it is.
It's something that, it's
Bad
something
dog,
that.
Charles, bad
it's-
dog,
It's
bad dog.
it's something that's, we were gonna have to do later, and we might as well do it before they put their new road
Yeah,
in,
it
instead
was
of
an
tearing up
opportunity
the
to
road,
stay up here.
you know?
It is an asbestos line, like it's an old line.
We
Scott?
also encountered a similar situation with the state with the radius line issue also. And we had to move that line at our expense to the state. And, I mean, it goes, that cost us dearly to move that line.
Now, when we built in
And we
Texas.
had nothing to do with it.
That was
I
a
mean,
headache, that was a headache.
That was a headache, and that was totally not our responsibility. And I mean, so I don't know how you wanna look at these lines, but they're in the right of way, and those right of ways are for everyone, whether they be electric, water, telephone.
Correct.
Everyone has access to those right of ways, and I believe that everyone has to play, or is obligated to remove and work their lines in the right of way.
Make their parking spots
Well, you run into a problem with TxDOT right away, because when TxDOT has ownership for the right of
Lower,
way, they
but
set the
higher.
rules, or they give you the permit to be in there, but one of the conditions of being in their TxDOT
You have
right
to
of way.
abide by their
is
rules.
If you're in conflict of future road inspection, you have to
Right.
pay your expense. And that's why if you wanna do a major line, you always wanna do easements, you don't wanna build in right of way.
Right.
Because if they acquire your easement, well, then it's their cost, but if you're in their right of way, it's your cost.
Right.
That's a big difference.
All right, let's go back to these projects this 5-year plan project that Charles has presented to us. Is there any question on any of these projects that he has down here?
I've got one question too for you.
I mean, he's got it separated out by water and wastewater, real nice, and he's got a grand total of only, $37 million.
12, 13, and 14 are not my 12, 13, and 14 priorities.
So, do you see that they should be higher or lower?
Where?
I think they should be much lower.
Where?
Seawater desalinization,
Where?
aquifer storage, recovery, and well, the other one's the water treatment. I get that confused with the
Right.
Oh, the alternative water supply?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Those
see-
just are not my priorities.
Well, the only thing that has a lower priority is filter expansion at water plant 1, because basically, and then a clarifier air replacement at water plant 1, and then the leak detection for the pipeline from Reservoir 40 Guapas. And I do have the raw water line for the Portisco High School loader, which is
Talking
probably
about
against
alternative water
some of
supplies.
the desires.
Anything that's fixing what we've got currently, I'm in favor of, but just like this aquifer deal and that, I think that is fine. It's not
Under
like
alternative water supplies.
crazy stuff, so
Yeah.
that's just my opinion.
All right, so so Rick, on item 12, that advanced water treatment facility, that's for this plant here, once we fix it, correct?
No, well,
That's not the reclamation
no,
deal.
That's not reclamation?
No, item 12 is,
Maybe 12.
Item 12 is the advanced water treatment that would be built in Laguna Vista to receive the effluent from the sewer plant, and then come back to Reservoir 3, and come back to
Okay.
water plant. That's
Where
what's
we've gotta get
called
into the
number
other
12.
stuff. We're back in.
I really think that we should be looking at the 2015, 2016 year only, focusing on that one first, because that's the majority of the
Well-
stuff that's happening already. And then, we do have to look at the 5-year, but.
I mean, I guess sort of when it comes down to talking about the alternative water supply, it's, do we want to try to pursue a proposition to expand our voter authorization beyond seawater, or do we just want to not make that effort, just drop it?
I don't think that effort's gonna fly.
Okay. I mean,
Personally, I think you've already got a lot on the table with obligations and bonds and whatnot already.
I agree with Scott 100%.
And
Now,
based,
it starts getting dry, we may change our mind.
and you know, based on
There's so much water.
this direct potable reuse, based on what we were told originally, you know, $6-7 million for this, just to pay for phase 1, this $6 million will probably jump to $10 million by that year anyway.
Well, I mean, the cost increases on the sewer plant have been phase two items that we're bringing into phase one, like the headworks and the sludge hole. So, I mean, those are.
Anything we're planning beyond the next, beyond 16, I think you have to add 15 or 20% to that number.
Alternative water supply is $7.5 million, and most of it won't work. Because once you go into the asphalt, the treatment with disposable reuse, if you go back over into the other stuff, part of that also comes down to, and you gotta go to the regular agenda for that. Where was that? What page was that? Hang on. Oh, that's disbursements now. Let's see. What am I looking for here? Okay. Go to item 8 in the regular agenda. This is, now we're coming up on, okay. Advanced water treatment plant design and construction, okay? That's what's fallen down under item 1, advanced water treatment facilities. If you read it out, a potable reuse project, blah, 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 to the site of water plant number 2. There, the treated effluent will be advanced treated with microfiltration, reverse osmosis, and UV, blah, 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 blah. Reverse osmosis, gentlemen, is desalination. With desalination, we have to figure out where we're going to put the effluent and how much loss there is going to be through the desalination process, because sometimes it's up to almost 50% of the water you get back. Okay.
Well, it all depends on your source, because right now the source at the Port Isabel sewer plant, you're talking about a salinity level of 15,000 versus pulling off the Gulf, you're talking about a salinity level of 35,000. I mean, of 1,500. It's 1,500.
Yes.
1,500, which is close to what the river's doing.
But we still have to desalinate that water.
Right. So
and what percentage of that desalination is effluent, and where do we put the effluent?
Well, basically, the good thing about using the wastewater effluent is you're going to have a 1,500 TDS at the start. Your concentrate's going to be...
have what?
1,500 TDS is going to be your TDS coming out of the sewer plant today. And then by the time you're spitting out a concentrate, it's at 15,000. And so 15,000 concentrate is still less than your seawater. So the seawater...
You can pump it right back into the bay?
So the bay, or even potentially the Bahia Grande, can receive that flow at that salinity.
I've got a problem with pumping that shit into the bay because it's just not salinity, it's the other...
And the thing is that there is the potential...
that go in with it.
Because I was talking to the people who were doing our wetland delineation for the court, and he had done a study over at SRWA when he was in college as far as the potential to use the concentrate to benefit the Bahia Grande. And so, I mean, it's something we haven't even looked at yet, but there's a potential of sending that concentrate across 100, get it down to the Bahia, and it'll help, because when you have the water come in, the wind blows it out, you get this high saline. I mean, you have saline salinity there at 70,000 parts.
Yeah.
So this could be a concentrate that would help reduce that salinity that builds up on the Bahia over time.
But once again, I mean, how many gallons are we talking about would we get? I mean, 500,000 a day, 600,000 gallons a day?
You want to look at the executive session? I actually spelled those out on the executive session backup.
I will.
But I mean, it's not something here. Let me look just in here. It's just one item in here. So basically, of course, by doing the sewer plant alone, we're getting 0. But if it was today's flow rate and we start the advanced treatment, we'd be looking at 654 acre feet, and that's accounting for the losses from your RO process and whatnot. And so basically, if we build to the permitted capacity, I mean that would give us 986 acre feet per year.
$7 million.
Yeah, basically at 7 million, you'd have 986 acre feet that you create.
Almost 1,000 acre feet of water.
Correct.
That's a lot of water.
And then if you allow that to grow with our development, by 2040, if you bring in the Laguna Vista sewer plant, you'd be looking at creating 2,000 acre feet. So when it comes down to just the simple water rights charges that you're avoiding at $2,000 an acre foot, that's like 4.3 million. So you're doing a pretty good deal here.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, you're only talking talking about, doubling the price of your water rights charge to keep it within your district. And we're working on a,
And we could, our water rights can get slapped down when there's another drought.
well, I mean,
Might not even be able to use those.
well, yeah, I mean, or if say the water gets held in a dam in Mexico and it's not there to take.
Right.
I mean, this is a way to keep it ourselves.
And they say we're going into another drought here right now.
Oh, yeah, I'm
They
surprised.
say-
In our monthly report, or
Along with global warming, global cooling, and forest fires.
Sea rise.
Yep,
No, but
look at that part,
just
yep.
to give you an idea of how quick the reservoirs drop, our monthly report that came from the water master was at 66%. And on Channel 5, I heard their numbers, and they already dropped down to 59% in like 2 weeks.
Really?
But they're irrigating, a lot of people are irrigating right now.
Yeah, it's very dry.
All the farmers are here, I noticed.
Raining too.
All right, so Carlos, what do you think we need to look at now? Which 2016 to 17 or 15 to 16? Those projects?
Focus on, 15, 16, possibly 16, 17 a little bit.
Where are we at, project?
Because, really, if we have any projects that are ongoing, which we do have some in 2015, that we're almost completing and some are still ongoing, we'll carry on to 2016, 17, and that's what we need to focus on mostly right now. But usually the alternative source of water is, phase 2 on it, which would be the advanced treatment.
Yeah.
That'll be 17, 18, 19 years, 2017, 2018.
I mean, the issue is it's going to take years just to get a funding source for it. I mean, that's
Well, see, that's what my concern is. I mean, our funding sources for some of these projects. I mean, right now we're okay, correct? Because we raised the water rates a couple times. Right now we're okay, but when do we really need to step up and maybe go out to the voters again for another bond issue, a tax bond issue? I know you wanted to push it for this year. But
I'm recommending the advanced water treatment facility, and if we want to put that without adding any more, extras to it, maybe the sludge lagoon at water plant 2. I mean, those are the 2 jobs that I think are pretty important for the 2 projects.
So you're talking about $7 million,
Well,
$7.5 million more or less?
Yeah, it'd be $7 million for advanced water treatment, and then if we want to get the new sludge drying beds at water plant 2, that's the other. I just got that number in 1.18 million.
So about eight something?
Yeah, so if we add the 2, 6.9 plus 1.2, what, 7.9? Yeah, so we'd be looking at like 8.1 million.
I mean, is that something we want to put to the voters? Is that something we can't do as a revenue bond?
No, because with our SRF loan, our debt coverage is going to go down to like 1.53, so we're not going to issue revenue debt probably for 10 years.
We can't do anything for revenue bond for 10
Unless
years?
we have more revenue or something.
No.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Because you got to do that without taking it to the voters.
That's what I'm saying, with revenue bonds, we don't have to take it to the voters.
I thought you were maxed out on revenue.
That's what they just said.
Well, once we do the SRF loan, that's going to max out our refund.
Once we do that CSR, whatever loan, it's...
Yeah, our 2015 refund is going to be paid in 2027. So that would be 2028 would be the next time that's how we open up revenue.
Now we're only gonna cover the, phase 1, right?
2012, that's 4 years.
Which one? The SRF, yeah, the SRF only gets us to the sewer plant. It doesn't get our, right.
So guys, do we want to maybe shoot for something? I mean, it's kind of quick to shoot for something this year, isn't it?
Well, we have a completed engineer's report.
Huh?
It's here.
Yeah, if we're not going to mess with that pie in the sky aquifer storage
water
recovery.
supply any of them. Anyway,
I don't-
especially aquifer storage.
I don't see the board real high on that.
No, we can drop the aquifer storage. I mean, y'all aren't buying in, so
Got
that's
some
fine.
thumbs down there. All right.
I mean, if we just.
If you can, okay, under item, 13,
Mhm.
the day they show me one aquifer storage on the Gulf Coast.
On the coast.
That has been in operation for 3 years, we'll get a hold of those people and ask them how they're doing.
Mhm.
And when they tell us what they really think of us for even bringing it up, then we'll let it drop.
Yeah, I don't want to be a guinea pig for...
No, we're not a lab rat for some engineering
Yeah.
firm that wants to...
Yeah, it's not
What
a
was
good place for
that,
us.
7 seas salts of the earth that came down here?
Oh, yeah, I don't even know what
They were gonna desalinate the water,
Yeah,
remember that? And then they were gonna
yesterday,
sell us the water, and they
911.
were gonna reclaim all the minerals, and
Oh.
Salt of the earth?
When they didn't find, yeah, salts of the earth, yeah, and when they,
Oh.
boy, they put us on a big presentation, and when they didn't find any matching funds out of us,
Well, anything,
it was like fairy dust, just little sparkles in the sky, and that, they went away.
well, I mean, when I did an internet search on Salt of the Earth and you find out their assets are only 60,000, you know, that's what you
Yeah,
just
how
dropped.
much?
$60,000.
That was their total asset.
And that was an Lexus SUV.
That was their pickup truck.
So it's not a real
That was
problem.
Charles, that was Charles's Dodge Hemi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the only difference here is the advanced water treatment. I mean, direct flow reuse, that's a very doable project. We got a completed feasibility study. People that offer grants are really looking at it as something they want to contribute to. So, I mean, you
Oh,
know.
I'll take all the grant money we can get, as long as we don't have to kick up matching funds, because it's somebody else's money that we
I mean,
can.
an $8 million tax bond, to me, is not really worth it. We need to go a little higher.
Eight really yields you 6.5.
I know, and yeah, because you gotta pay all the fees, and to me, it's just not, you know, well, I know you would tack fees on the 8-1, that's what we need for the projects, but by the time the projects get here, the price is always 15 to 20% higher.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, we got to figure out what if we do a bond issue, what we need to spend or plan it within 3 years. I mean, that's as long as you want those projects to run for that issue.
Yep.
So.
The water line was 20% higher, 87, it was $1.1 million.
I mean, for major projects within a 3-year period,
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want to.
Is there something you could jump up?
Well, restoring our filters to 4.1 MGD at Water Plant 1 would be really nice. Because right now, those filters, even though the plant is primitive or supposedly with 4.1, those filters can only do 2.9. And disinfection there is not what you want it to be.
How much?
And I threw this 1.5 million. It's like a total estimate. I need to get a real number behind it. But item 15, this filter expansion at Water Plant 1 and disinfection upgrade. I mean, we need to start chlorine dioxide over there and stop relying on chlorine. And we should build a parallel train like microfiltration to run parallel to our sand filters to restore our filter capacity where it should be. And then if we want to already go ahead and rehab the clarifier, because we're just going to advance it, you know, we can look at that as well.
Our $20 million, $21 million bond issue that we passed in 12, I mean, what did that do to the tax? Hardly anything.
Well, because the thing is,
Because we paid, I know we paid off another one.
Yeah, like our tax was 8.1 cents or 8.0 cents, whatever it was.
Right.
Since we did not issue Proposition 2 in 2013, that dropped the tax rate down to 4.1 cents. And then we went up to 4.4 with issuing this 2016.
Well, let's say we do a $15 million bond issue, what would that do to our tax rate, more or less?
Well, it would put it back up to 8 cents.
It will be kind of like doubling up like it was on the 2014.
0.08
Yeah.
again.
One of the cheapest tax rates in the
Yeah,
area.
we don't have a bad tax rate, but I
No, we
don't wanna
don't.
get us taxed out of existence either. I'd hate to be like the city or the county or the, pick one, the school.
That's what scares me. Everybody else is in
Yeah,
the
give
hot
us the
tub
money
with
the
their
school
ears.
gets, right?
Right, and the thing is, like advanced treatment,
Which they won't, they have
I mean,
a new commission.
like if you put seawater side by side with how close you are to advanced treatment, I mean, we're talking about a $16 million plus with a very high O&M cost.
Let's
versus a $6
get our
million.
priorities straight.
Correct.
First, Isla Blanca still needs a lot of work, sewer plant. Are they done with this mix master, with our big stirring machine? Is it working?
They are about 95, all they need is the rates on the bottom.
It ain't working yet. No,
They're-
okay,
they're
that was a
pretty
yes or no question. Second question, when is it gonna be working?
Gonna be by the end of the.
Before spring break.
Yeah, right before spring break.
Okay. We need, the blowers, did we get the new blowers? Did we get the pipe jetted in there to where the blowers are working over there and where all the pipes were broke off in that one aeration basin?
Oh, yeah, they're working.
They're working now. Okay, we got those down.
Yeah,
But we
we
got,
got
let's fix what we got.
Market days, wasn't it?
Let's get it where we need it to be. Half the reason, when I came on this board, the financials looked so good. I want you guys to listen to this. And I'm going, man, we got a lot of money, we're in good shape. That's because somebody in the previous administration hoarded the money, let the plants go to hell in a handbasket. Because, man, we got a good financial statement. Man, we can bond, we've got a AAA 35 million A rating and all the, while the whole place is falling apart. I think they did it intentionally to keep their ratings looking good and to where they could go to the taxpayer. They could go out to the people and say, look at all the money we've saved you. Well, the plants were literally falling apart. Well, they were lying to the community and to everybody else that was listening to it. It was a lie, because you can't, if you don't take care of the infrastructure, it just costs more later. We got to get this stuff working before we want all this magic dust over here. Charles, and I know you like your gadgets. He's an engineer. They love their gadgets, you know. If you gave him a Rubik's Cube, he wouldn't even talk to us. He'd just be sitting there working. You know, okay. That's what engineers do. Let's get our priority. They want $1 million, how much was it? $1 million just for electrical at the wastewater plant over here.
Our portable sewer plant.
What are the guys doing? Kind of, I mean, you know, sticking the wires together?
Well, just to give you an idea of how much sewer plants cost, the Robindale expansion from 10 to 14 MGD was a $48 million project.
I know, but let's get that done. Let's get that done. Let's get that electrical, let's get all not just the upgrades, let's get the maintenance that was never done over the years. Get our ship in order before we set sail into a new seas, okay? Sorry, I'm running my mouth. Can I adjourn? I gotta
Based on what I'm seeing for 2015-16 priorities, all of those projects, we have funding for that, correct?
Right.
And then I'm looking at 2016 and 17, except for the new sludge drying basins, I think pretty much all of those have funding for them, is that correct? From what I'm seeing.
So what we need to do is.
So I think we're covered for the next,
complete those projects before we start doing more, because if you add the other 2018, 2020, whatever it is, we're gonna keep adding and then getting behind on the other projects.
And you know, Scott and I have been through floating bonds, and we know how long that takes. It's a long process. I think Rick's probably been involved with that on the island. It does take a while, so
we can always look at
I don't want to rush and do one for this November. I'd rather maybe, if we're going to look at it, maybe do it for next November, and make it a good one. You know?
And either pay down or refinance.
couple years, maybe 2 years.
Yeah. Well, whenever they tell us we can, whenever the bond council tells us we can refinance, we always need to be refinancing, just to save money that way. And gentlemen, what also I want to do, I would like us to do, and staff to do, is I think we have plenty of money now in reserve. We've got eight months of operating expenses, I believe, in reserve right now.
That's what we should have.
Okay, so we have got plenty. It's probably more than what we've got plenty. So I think from now on, if I don't know how to do it financially. Maybe Sanjuana can help us with that, but
That's her job.
I don't want to see at the end of the year money left over. If there's going to be because we've been seeing that, and that keep getting put back into the reserve again, and we're not utilizing that money. And I just want to make sure, you know, there was one year with Gavino here, we had $1.1 million left over, and I think that goes back to what Whitey's saying.
Because everything was falling apart.
I mean, we had that. We look real
great.
good. We look real good on paper, but we don't. I mean, we need to be spending that on stuff that we need.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
Because I believe the auditor had mentioned that it doesn't look good when you have so much surplus.
So if we can just keep breaking even from here on, we got plenty of reserve. We're doing fine on reserve money right now.
But we need to complete the existing projects and move
Correct.
forward on the
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
we can.
So I mean, if we see we got an extra $200,000 or $300,000 that we're going to project that we're going to be in the black at the end of this fiscal year, look at, get with Charles, look at one of these projects, and boom, let's take care of one of these projects.
Water sales have got to be coming up in already. RJ10 line?
Yeah, well, I think that we really need to put like an asset replacement program, which is gonna be something that we can move along, every year and set aside at least, I don't know, at least a minimum of 300,000, per year. So that way we can have sufficient for pumps, stuff that we know is gonna be, pretty much, falling apart, within every 5 years or so. So we can do that right now, we can start, making, an asset replacement program, because this is kinda like for projects, but, we also have those little things that are working on the operations, and then, if we do that, it's also looking good for our financials, because we're planning, we need to do the planning, and that's kinda like getting the managers involved, knowing what is it that's gonna be, replaceable,
Yeah.
instead of just kinda like having emergencies and then going over budget on some items.
Well, I'm looking at what Carlos put for the priority projects, that was yours, Carlos, right? The priority projects, you got the vehicles, well, I can see where some of those we need to probably jump on and replace, but those we usually do in the normal budget. We'll put.
That's why I mentioned it, because it
Okay.
is priority anyhow.
But looking at your number 3, I mean, how much money is that, the meter change-out program in Laguna Vista? We need to get started on replacing some of these meters, and how are we gonna pay for it? Are we gonna pay for it with that group that came in here? Or are we gonna do it on our own, like we've done in the past,
I think
Victor?
it's best to do it on our own, because, I think once they show us, there's always gonna be something that they can do for us.
I know, and we can do it ourselves.
No brains.
And we can do it ourselves.
Right.
Although we did, the
Even
last meter
Victor
change-out
could do
program we
that.
had, didn't we have a company that came in and did it for us?
Badger came in and did it, we paid, I think, $1 million for those radio reads.
Well,
But it was the whole-
That was the whole
That was the
district.
whole
Yeah, that
district.
was 2006.
Yeah,
That was the whole
they're
part.
charging us for labor.
Right.
I like change out meters.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if you wanna
yeah, but those meters need to be changed out. And guys, those meters need to be changed out in one fell swoop, and we don't have the personnel to spare to be doing that.
Technology has increased so much on that now, that, I believe it has. You needed it's all, you either need to do it in 3 sections, 3
Right.
phases by the 3 areas, and again, you're back to the budget. And at that time, I believe it was like $1.5 million, and we did them in 3 phases, I think we did it in.
I think we knocked them all out. They started with one area, and
One
they just
area,
worked their way the whole
something like that,
district
yeah.
all at once.
And we saved a good amount of money with those radio reads, because the guys weren't going door to door anymore. And the best part about that is you were able to identify, what the problems faster, and you're able to save water to identifying them 45 days later. I mean, that was a no-brainer.
Do you guys have any cost estimate on what it would be to change out those meters in Laguna Vista to start? Let's get a cost estimate, or más o menos figure out what it's gonna cost, and that should be one of our priorities.
Are they getting old or what?
They all have about 10-year lifespan.
10-year lifetime, and, we replaced them in 2006, so 2016 is a 10-year. So we're right there at that, end of the life cycle there.
But-
But, we can, start bidding out that part and find out what the cost is at least. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're gonna award the bid to anybody, but we can at least
We
find
just
out.
need to shop it,
If it's okay.
shop it.
Shop it, get an estimate, maybe, and then we can go out for bids.
We have our new shop person, what's our new person does it?
Yeah?
Bid.
Well, this is different, man. This is different.
But this guy
Oh,
from
yeah.
I think our purchasing agent, they're talking about in-house supplies and all that stuff.
Good job for saving a lot of Charles.
Yeah. Yeah, you've done it before.
So how many meters are out there, Jeff, that they have to be swapped out?
We have 6,300, counts.
How many in Laguna Vista?
Oh, Laguna Vista, I believe,
2,000 probably?
I don't know, 1,500 maybe?
maybe like 1,800.
1,800? What, we have to buy the meter? What does the meter cost?
A replacement meter today, what is it?
About 150, well, close to $200 with that, transmitter, radio readout.
So the meter's about $200, and then the labor to swap it out.
So it's a $2 million project roughly.
And what do you do with the old meters? Are they scrap value or something?
Yeah, the,
There's 300 meters in the
we
Oh, okay, you're talking about, yeah.
Brand-
It's
brand-
roughly $2 million.
Can't get much out
Somebody
of
will
it.
buy them after that, cause they got their 10-year
We've been talking about
warranty on it,
that.
it's not worth too much. only
We're
the
buying
gas.
the meters and the meter flaggy things just to cover us, people don't get go bad.
It's roughly $2 million.
We'll get a.
And so when we do this meter change-out program, we're not gonna be changing out the meters that we've just replaced, correct?
Depends if you change companies or because they have the radio frequency.
Would.
All have to be the same,
Well, I think
basically.
it'd be a case-by-case
Because
basis.
it depends on what company we get, because if we get Badger, the lowest bidder, that they can do the replacement.
That's true,
we'll
that's
keep
true,
some.
that's true. Alright.
You can't put parts on a Chevrolet on board, I mean, it doesn't.
Well, gas money can.
Another thing about these vehicles, I mean, when were we thinking about, looking into it and getting them replaced?
Well, not
Well,
till
the
the next budget.
vehicles, we're trying to do a budget amendment, and,
Next
we need to,
meeting.
for the next meeting, we'll probably present something to the board, and, hopefully that we can bring all the pictures that,
I mean, I understand that we need more trucks, but at the same time, when we go after these trucks, we can't be getting the ones that have the Hemi and the leather interior. I mean, we gotta go with the basic, basic stuff. And also, I mean, if we were talking about here, I mean, putting something here, I think it would work real good. If we have something there, I think they would last longer. I mean, because it's true out here, I mean, everything rusts right away. I mean, something like that, I think that it would save us a lot of money.
Yeah, but trucks, we have 91s and 92s, that's not good.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be having those, man.
I've been seeing some go by that look pretty rough.
Yeah.
Sitting there, they said, well,
Yeah, like in a yearly basis, we're spending around 35,000, in vehicle maintenance. So that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, we could save just, kinda like doing the regular maintenance, oil changes and stuff like that, not, transmission, tires and stuff like that we're doing right now.
But it's a big liability also. I mean, if something happens to one of those trucks on the road.
we're trying to keep them off the road, but.
Do we wanna talk about number 4 real quick? Discuss clean water state revolving fund for wastewater plants?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I guess on the items, basically, the first attachment is just the invitation. The day we received it was November 20th, 2015, for an amount of $5,815,000. And so we're basically looking at, being that we have such a good interest rate, we'll just ask for the full amount and make adjust our funds to put that all in the sewer fund. And so as far as, the details of what we'll be, analyzing, we can flip over to the next page, and then, I don't know if you wanna, one more down. This is the project information form that we had submitted. And if you look at item B, that's the green project element of 1.16 million. Basically 15% of that is in loan forgiveness, so you don't have to pay that back. And at the time of the November invitation, there were no refunds that were eligible, but a call I got about 2 weeks ago said that may have opened up, and so the sooner we submit our application, we might have that opportunity for about, $174,000 in grant. So the sooner we get in the door, we'll be the next ones to review to consider that money that might be available. So that's basically where the green, update just came in here a couple of weeks ago. I guess if we keep going down to the next page, this is our project description we have to submit green project worksheets in our application to the Water Development Board. And so this is just the description, and with this scope of work included in that invitation amount, the entire project is considered green. So,
The whole thing, or?
well, it'd be 15%, like, since our request amount was only, the 1.1 million, for our invitation that we asked for, that, basically the grant on that element would be 174,000. But we don't know how much free money they have to give away, but with the green worksheet, as far as eligibility, the full project essentially would be eligible for green, where about $1 million would qualify for grant if the money's available.
Man, let's go for it.
Yeah.
So that's how we're gonna submit our
Full
application.
speed ahead, man.
Yeah, and that's basically
I thought it was a
our
big
approach.
deal.
And then we're just gonna have to find out what's in the bank that they need to develop. So we'll go from there. That's basically, if you look at the next page, if you look at our energy efficiency, which is power green, we're gonna be going from a 240 to a 40 volt system in the plant, so that'll reduce our service size. And then once you add the VFDs and everything else, we're looking at a 52% energy reduction. So basically our annual electrical cost costs today are $159,000, and after all these improvements are in place, our annual electrical bill will drop down to $72,000.
You guys ought to be listening to this energy cost savings, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, so you're gonna see a pretty big change there. And so that's basically, that's kind of a summary of, and then the final page is the cost breakout for our strictly SRF loan application. And so even though the full imputation amount is 5.8 million, or 5.18 million, right now, the project cost is 6.9 million. So of course, once we get above the imputation amount, that's what our 2016 bond is gonna cover. Versus the state loan.
What's that 20% unidentified project elements?
That's basically, because right now they're only at 40-50% design, and
Are
as
we on the
design goes
right
on, they
page?
tend
We're
to
on the
find
right
details
page. We're on the
that
last page, right?
weren't specified line items.
I'm sorry, Charles, can you tell me again if
Oh, well, unidentified project elements are basically items that, like right now in design phase, they're only at about a 40-50% completion. And so as we finish the last 50% of design, well, we're gonna identify those items as what they actually are. And they know at the end of the day, this is pretty much how it'll end up costing, once we have all the details known. And so that's just a line item to basically assign to specific equipment.
20%?
Yeah, they said typically at the end of the day, this is how it'll, this will cover us, and we're not gonna be short.
Wait a minute. Corolla's supposed to be such fine engineers, and they need a 20% bumper for unforeseen conditions, or possibly errors and omissions?
That's not what he said, Whitey.
Well, what did he say then?
He
Explain
said
it.
they're only at 40 to 50% design work, and so
Right.
once they finish up the rest of the design, that $1 million will go back up into some of these line items.
Right. And
Correct?
just to kind of see how they've done budgets in the past, like the feasibility study, we completed that feasibility study at 75% of the budget. So we never had to pay out that last 25% because we just beat it. And so this estimate is kind of done in the same format, so we know we're not gonna be short at the end of the year.
I think they know we don't like overruns.
Right.
I think they know that very specifically, yeah, they know that.
Now, he's just using this then as this is shotgun. Basically what we've got here is shotgun.
Well, it's the level of detail we know today.
Okay. Under the general contractor overhead profit and risk, you have 12% plugged in there. Are we talking about trying to do this on a cost-plus basis?
No, I mean,
Okay, that was the only question.
No, these are gonna be unit items that.
What are the headworks?
The headworks is gonna be, your grid removal. It's the first thing that when you come into the plant, we don't have one today. It's a completely new structure. And it's gonna be your bar screens to remove the grid, and then it'll split your flow to your aeration basins.
Okay.
Hope you can make it happen on this, Charles.
Yeah.
Do it.
I think we will.
I think it's sorely needed.
Well, we gotta do this, guys.
Well,
This has gotta happen.
And
This has got to happen.
I think we got help with the state from somebody too, so.
As cheap as I am, this has gotta happen.
All right. If there's no further items on this workshop, we'll go ahead and adjourn this, take a 5-10 minute recess before we start the regular meeting.